Welcome back to Barcelona. It's 1:30 in the afternoon. The temperature's getting hotter and hotter, 31 degrees centigrade, 87 degrees Fahrenheit. Track temperature's getting hotter and hotter. 4.272 kilometers, 2.937 miles. The longest straight over 1,000 meters. Valentino Rossi, the fastest ever man on two wheels, round the circuit de Catalunya, a 1:41.840, set yesterday afternoon when he grabbed pole position. But that record holder, Nicky Hayden, last year riding the Repsol Honda. The circuit, built in 1991, staged its first Grand Prix in 1992. Valentino Rossi in pole. He won the last Grand Prix in Mugello in front of his home crowd. He trails Casey Stoner in the championship by 9 points. Danny Pedrosa.
Pit stop.
Yeah, going down the beach now. So, yeah. All right, lads, I'll leave it today. I'll come back tomorrow. Valentino Rossi, the pole setter, with that 1:41.840. Joined on the front row, Randy de Punier and Danny Pedrosa.
Behind them on row two, watch out for Casey Stoner launching from that line from fourth place. John Hopkins is alongside him and Colin Edwards too.
Nicky Hayden, the world champion, Tony Elias and Marco Melandri, all Grand Prix winners at this level on the third row.
Alex Hoffman was delighted to head up row four alongside Vermeulen and Nakano.
Row 5, Sylvain Gintoli, Alex Barros, who rode so well in Mugello, and Carlos Checa, a former winner here.
Makoto Tamada in 16th, Loris Capirossi, whose season was decimated at the first turn last year, and Kenny Roberts Jr. in 18th. And bringing up the rear is his brother, Curtis Roberts, both of them riding on that Team KR Honda.
You can feel the tension here in the commentary box. It really is a big race, a big event, a crowd 112,000. It's round 7 of the MotoGP World Championships. What a front row. Valentino Rossi just tucked in behind him. Number 27 with those Australian flag details. Casey Stoner, the championship leader.
What a great noise that is. It's not the real start, but still when they get off on their warm-up lap, a fantastic sound to hear. 19 MotoGP bikes all pull away at the same point. This is where all the action happened last season in the race. 5 riders, 6 riders all came together in there. 3 of them never restarted the race. And, well, we hope nothing like that happens again.
We ride with Danny Pedrosa. Will we be riding with the Spaniard and with those fans after 25 laps of the circuit to Catalunya?
That's who they want to win, isn't it? Danny Pedrosa. Some of them want this man to win, but I'm sure lots of the very patriotic Catalan fans will be wanting Danny Pedrosa to be on the top step. Well, as you say, 25 laps remaining, and we're going to see who wins this race in around 45 minutes time.
25 laps, round 7 of the championship. Valentino Rossi chasing his 9th win here in Barcelona on the Yamaha. Alongside him on the front row of the grid, Randy de Punier, and this man, Danny Pedrosa, right behind Valentino Rossi. Look for the start of Casey Stoner on that red Ducati. Welcome to Barcelona, welcome to the circuit de Catalunya, and the MotoGP race is underway.
It's a good start from Casey Stoner, as we expected, from the back of the grid, looking from Loris Capirossi's bike. We can't quite see what's going on at the front. At the front, it looks as though it's Casey Stoner who's going to go in there first. Danny Pedrosa hard on the brakes, though. It's Pedrosa from Stoner. Hopkins in there as well. Rossi in 4th place. De Punier in 5th.
Great start by Pedrosa. Very good start, as we expected, by Casey Stoner. Hopkins has made a good start also from the second row of the grid. Rossi right in there. Randy de Punier, how long can he hang on there? But Danny Pedrosa, to the delight of the fans, leads the way, but Casey Stoner already giving him a hard time.
Tony Elias has made up a couple of positions. He's up into 6th place. Colin Edwards is in 7th. Nicky Hayden in 8th. Loris Capirossi's had a great start, and he's in 9th, but about to be taken by Chris Vermeulen. At the front, though, Casey Stoner sits up out of the saddle coming out of that corner as Valentino Rossi has a look up the inside of John Hopkins for 3rd place. Stoner was lucky there, wasn't he? Just really sat up out of his seat.
Tell you what, they're coming onto the back straight any moment now. They're round the right-hander now. Will anybody make a move at the end of the back straight? And the tight left-hander, favourite braking manoeuvre here. Now, is anybody going to try and get through? Is Valentino Rossi going to have a go at John Hopkins? No, he's not. Randy de Punier coming up the inside of Valentino Rossi. Not quite able to get through.
Dani Pedrosa leads him through the stadium section. There'll be a real roar. Randy de Punier, again, just like Stoner before him, sits out of the seat and he loses a position there to Tony Elias. So Elias now up to 5th place. They'll all be on their feet in there, as you can see, because Dani Pedrosa is leading the way. They go down and head to turn 13. Downhill braking, fast right-hander, 100 miles an hour. They go onto the start-finish straight. When they cross the line, 1 lap down, 24 remaining.
Pedrosa leads the way. Casey Stoner behind him. Valentino Rossi now trying to get up the inside of John Hopkins. Who's on the brakes? Who's fastest? It's Casey Stoner that leads the way on the Ducati. Dani Pedrosa in 2nd place. John Hopkins 3rd. Valentino Rossi closing up with where we left off in Mugello. This is MotoGP at its best.
Casey Stoner once more showing the huge power of that Ducati and just storming past Dani Pedrosa at the end of the straight. John Hopkins came under pressure from Rossi, but Hopkins is a demon on the brakes and he held off the challenge of the 5-time MotoGP world champion.
Look out for Tony Elias in 5th place. Valentino Rossi will be looking out for him. Valentino Rossi trying very hard indeed to get past John Hopkins. He's worried that Stoner may get away at the front. Rossi trying all he can to get past the Suzuki and John Hopkins. John Hopkins at the moment will not budge. Here comes Rossi once again.
Yeah, he's having a look once more through the left-hander and he goes through Rossi. Is he going to run it a little bit wide though? Hopkins comes back and goes back in front of him. They get the fast right-hander back onto the back straight. And Rossi relegated back to 4th, so he's had a go at Hopkins. I'm sure he'll have another go now down the back straight. Elias pulls to the left, and so does Valentino Rossi. The legs go out, but it's not going to be this time. De Punier still in 6th place. Melandri behind there. There's Edwards. There's Hayden now in 9th position. Capirossi in 10th. Hoffman just behind them. Vermeulen in 11th.
Casey Stoner setting a real pace at the front. Into the right-handers, they're into the stadium section, a little front-end wobble there from Casey Stoner as they plunge downhill. 3rd gear, well over 100 miles an hour, into the right-hander that brings them back into the start and finish straight. 23 laps to go when they cross the line. Will Rossi have another go at Hopkins, but Stoner is getting away at the front. The gap, almost half a second. Here comes Rossi past Hopkins.
Yeah, Valentino Rossi's got the power on the Suzuki. Obviously, he's not riding Suzuki, but the Yamaha has the power over the Suzuki. A look there from Randy de Punier past Tony Elias, but it's not to be for the Frenchman this time. Behind them is Marco Melandri, and this is the order at the moment. Stoner, Pedrosa, Rossi now in 3rd. Hopkins runs it a little bit wide in turn 3, and he was closed right up by Tony Elias through there. Then it's de Punier in 6th, Melandri in 7th, Edwards, Hayden, Capirossi, Barros, Vermeulen, Hoffman, Gintoli, Nakano in 15th, Tamada, Checker, and it's Curtis Roberts, and Kenny Roberts Jr. brings up the rear.
Pedrosa is closed on Casey Stoner. Stoner has not got away. 22.5 laps to go. Rossi will try and get up to those front 2. And there is Tony Elias behind John Hopkins. That's an explosive combination, isn't it?
An amazing lap there from Stoner, 143.448. Just 0.4 of a second outside the lap record on the very second lap. Everybody else in the 44s.
Stoner heads down the back straight now. It's starting to settle down just a little bit at the front. Dani Pedrosa behind him, just 2/10. Then it's Valentino Rossi and John Hopkins. Behind them, Tony Elias and Randy de Punier. They file their way through and into the stadium section. Early laps these on the hard tyres. Bring them up to temperature very, very quickly in this heat, and they'll start wearing out almost immediately. They're going to be working against their tyres. What they said yesterday in the press conference was that will be the decider today, who has chosen best, who has done their homework best, as they head through turn 13 and down the home straight once more.
Casey Stoner still leads the way. 22 laps to go. Dani Pedrosa very close indeed. He's going to come out of the slipstream and try and take him. Dani Pedrosa, this is a brave move against the Ducati. Not quite through. And Randy de Punier trying to get up the inside of, not quite able to get past, up the inside there of Tony Elias. Great stuff from Randy de Punier, riding with that injured knee just tucked in behind him. You can see Marco Melandri, Colin Edwards 8, Capirossi 9, Nicky Hayden, the World Championship at the moment in 10th place. What a start to the race here at the Grand Prix of Catalunya in Barcelona. Fabulous stuff. We ride with Dani Pedrosa. He could not be closer to Casey Stoner, and he's going to have another go at it. Perhaps not here, I think at the end of the back straight when they break for the left-hander, Dani Pedrosa, perhaps not quite close enough this time round.
Well, we expected a three-way battle between Stoner, Pedrosa and Rossi. At the moment we've got Stoner, Pedrosa, and I'm sure Rossi's going to join him for company. He just closed the gap by 2/10 on that section, and he's making his way forward now through the order. Don't count out Valentino Rossi. He was in 8th position after the first lap in Mugello, and look what happened. He went on to win the race by a couple of seconds over Dani Pedrosa. This time it's a little bit different. Casey Stoner out at front, Pedrosa in second, and Rossi tucked in third. But we could see that three-way battle we expected. Into the stadium section once more, and now the hard work on the right-hand side of those tyres. They're going to suffer throughout this race, and well, they're already going to start to suffer early on.
Into the start, finish straight. There is Tony Elias just tucked in there behind John Hopkins. We ride with him. In behind the bubble, just over 300 kilometers an hour for the 800cc machines. Again, Pedrosa very, very good on the brakes there, but Stoner holds the advantage. And Tony Elias gets up the inside of John Hopkins, and Tony Elias has now taken over 4th place, but then runs it wide. John Hopkins goes past, and then Tony Elias and Randy de Punier collide, but don't go down. Two very lucky young men.
Well, I think that's again with Tony Elias going far too hot into turn 1. That's when Hopkins could take him back on the second half of turn 1 and 2, the S's, and when Elias came back across the track, there was Randy de Punier. And that's the dangers. I'm sure there'll be some finger wagging at Tony Elias once more. Very exciting rider to watch, of course, Tony Elias, but sometimes some riders say that he is a little bit too close to the bone in terms of manoeuvres. They can see he comes back across and cuts right into the path of Randy de Punier, and right on Randy de Punier's sore knee as well. Just thinking about that knee, which is full of blood, and really horrible injury that he has.
Randy de Punier used to give a hand signal in behind him as if to say, it's okay, mate, I'm still in front of you.
If he was going to be hit anywhere, that was the worst possible place on that knee, wasn't it? Dani Pedrosa still hanging in there. Casey Stoner setting an absolutely scorching pace at the front, into the stadium section, down through these fast right-handers when they come into the start and finish. It will be 20 laps to go of this 25-lap race. A long, long way for tyres, machines, and for bodies, especially this man's body, Randy de Punier, who's riding with that badly injured collarbone, badly injured left knee. We ride with Valentino Rossi in 3rd place, just eking out a few precious seconds. And again, Dani Pedrosa at the end of the start and finish straight closes on Casey Stoner, but Casey Stoner has the pace of the Ducati and still leads the way. It was Dani Pedrosa that led the way early in the race. Stoner got in front, and Stoner from the second row of the grid once again, riding a superb battle with Pedrosa at the front. Rossi looking very threatening in 3rd place. John Hopkins, well, what a season he's had, in 4th place. And then we have Tony Elias, we have Marco Melandri, and of course Randy de Punier. Further down the field, Nicky Hayden 10th, Alex Barros in 11th place, Chris Vermeulen 12th, Sylvain Gintley 13th, Alex Hoffman in 14th place. Here comes Alex Barros now, chasing after Colin Edwards in front of him.
Yeah, Barros didn't get a great start. He was quite far down the grid in 14th, but now up into 11th. He's got past Vermeulen, and now he's hunting down the American Colin Edwards, former World Superbike champion, of course. They come onto the back straight, Casey Stoner and Dani Pedrosa. Pedrosa has a look up the inside. Onto the brakes, they go into the tight left-hander, not this time from Dani Pedrosa. Rossi is closing in on Dani Pedrosa on this lap, but he's bringing along with him to the party John Hopkins. And, well, we could see a 4-way battle. We thought it might be 3 at the front, but if Hopkins could be in there, then that's even better indeed.
And Danny going to get the lap board that says +0 to Rossi, even though he's got about 0.6 of a second, so they're giving him the hurry up already.
They probably know what's going to happen in about 2 laps' time, but Dani Pedrosa can stay with Stoner, but where he can actually overtake him, I'm not so sure. It's very hard indeed, because Stoner's riding superbly at the front. This is where Pedrosa's very good. Now, perhaps he'll have a go here. 2 or 3 times in the last, 4 or 5 laps, he's got up alongside him, but not quite close enough. I don't know if he's sounding him out or if he actually can't get past him.
Well, it looks as though Stoner's just braking a little bit later. Maybe that Ducati a little higher up in the ranges. It just has a little bit extra as well. you know, when they start to have tyre degradation, the speeds are coming onto that home straight will be all important, obviously, as they run down to the start and finish line, and that could be where Dani Pedrosa has the edge. You never know. Lots of laps to go in this race as they go through now.
And also too, Kev, if you look at the top speeds, they're getting 305 k's for Stoner, which is about 15 k's down on what he was doing in practice. So this headwind might be playing a bit of an effect as well.
Valentino Rossi third, John Hopkins really hanging in there. As we said, we thought it would be between the three at the front, but John Hopkins right in there. 4 riders, 18.5 laps to go. This really could go anyway, but the Doctor looking ominously quick in third place, chasing his 9th Grand Prix victory here in Barcelona.
Just looking at 5th place, Randy Depunier's got past Tony Elias, so we thought Depunier might start slipping down the order, but it's not to be. He's got past Elias and he's pulling away from him. He's not closing on Hopkins in front of him. These 4 are in a pace of their own at the moment, all in the mid 143s, low 143s, and those behind in the 144s.
Well, Randy said to me this morning that it's not really riding a bike that is a problem, it's just getting on and off. Once he bends the knee and gets it in position, there's not much pain there for him. So he might have settled down and he's got his head around it now that he's relegated Elias as they come down and complete another lap.
Getting it whacked by Tony Elias probably didn't help. I don't know, might have helped him a little bit. Valentino Rossi now just having a little sniff at Dani Pedrosa, 18 laps to go. Rossi's had to work very hard to get up with Dani Pedrosa. He's brought John Hopkins along as well. That's the gap. It's well, it's not even close enough to look at gaps, is it? You can just look and see that Rossi's going to have a go at Pedrosa very soon indeed. Whereas Dani Pedrosa has been happy. Well, has he been happy to stay behind Casey Stoner? But Stoner has set such a pace at the front. He's made it very difficult for him. Valentino Rossi sizing up Dani Pedrosa now. Is he close enough? He is close enough. Again, I think it will be at the end of the back straight. He may have a go. This is the left-hander.
He likes these double left-handers with Valentino Rossi. He's very strong in this section of the circuit. He tried there before on John Hopkins. He's not going to have a go this time on Dani Pedrosa, but he does like it through there.
Now, guys, I've got Chris Herring with me, the sporting manager of HRC, the Honda Racing Corporation. Chris, must be making everybody feeling pretty good now that the criticism that the Honda has faced early in the year, but now Danny's proved in the last couple of races that you're really getting the pace up.
Yeah, I think it's clear to see the top speeds have improved on Danny's bike and Nicky's bike, and you know, even with Tony Elias on the Bridgestones as well, I think there's a real battle going on between the tyre manufacturers as well. But yeah, bit by bit, you know, it's still only about 80% developed, so there's a long way to go for the engineers.
And also a bit down on top speed, I've noticed from what the bikes were doing yesterday, maybe this headwind playing a bit of havoc with them as well.
I think that's all it is, Mark. I mean, we don't have any fuel issues. I don't know if any other teams do, but certainly there's no problem with, you know, having to tune it down a bit for the fuel consumption.
All right, mate, we'll leave you to it to get back to it. Thanks, Chris.
Cheers, Matt.
Over the start and finish line, 17 laps to go. Fabulous round 7 of the MotoGP World Championship. There's John Hopkins in 4th place. They almost come as one. It looked like Casey Stoner, and then suddenly they found out there was 3 riders behind him. But Casey Stoner is setting one hell of a pace at the front, isn't he?
Fastest lap of the race so far.
Whoa!
John Hopkins, a 143.252. Hopkins is starting to come into this race. We thought he was just being dragged along by Valentino Rossi, but it certainly seems that Hopkins has the pace to stick out alongside this top group, and he's doing so in 4th position at the moment. We're just watching Nicky Hayden's battle further down the order at the moment. Hayden currently sitting in 9th position. There's Loris Capirossi just in front of him in 8th place. It's been a good ride from Capirossi, started from 17th position on the grid. He was up to 9th by about the first split, wasn't he, on that first lap? And now he's pressurising Marco Melandri. Nicky Hayden just behind him there has Alex Barros and Chris Vermeulen for company. And you can already see there's a few tyre problems there for Nicky Hayden, just having a slight wobble on that bike as he goes through the double left-handers.
Loris Capirossi again to their first ever Grand Prix victory here 4 years ago. Came here last year leading the World Championship, and of course got involved in that first bend crash. Happily, we've seen nothing like that today. We ride with Loris Capirossi and that magnificent Ducati. Alex Barros wants to have a go now at Nicky Hayden. Said he made the best of starts. He's in 10th place at the moment. Nicky Hayden having to ride hard to stay in front of him, and Chris Vermeulen just tucked in behind them. Marco Melandri again, 7th, but he'll be disappointed he's not right up with those race leaders.
Keep an eye on Valentino Rossi. He's closed the gap to Dani Pedrosa as they cross the line. 16 laps remaining. Rossi is closing and hunting down Dani Pedrosa. John Hopkins also flying as well. They're all there, 43.3 and 43.4. Look at the tyres they've chosen. Casey Stoner has a slick hard front tyre and a slick medium on his rear tyre. Now in this kind of heat, well, what can we say about the condition of the tyres at this point in the race? But maybe later on, Casey Stoner may have a few problems. Maybe there's been some later changes for Bridgestone. That we don't know.
John Hopkins has got a slick rear.
Yeah, we don't know whether it's hard or medium. I think there might have been a bit of indecision there for it.
Quite likely.
The Bridgestone guys just having a bit of a laugh about that when it came up on screen too.
So Stoner still leads the way, 15.5 laps to go. Pedrosa coming under increasing pressure from Rossi. But as it stands at the moment, Rossi hasn't got close enough to get past for the former 125 and 250cc world champion. And John Hopkins in 4th place. So a Ducati, a Honda, a Yamaha and a Suzuki. It really doesn't get better than that.
Four different manufacturers at the top in MotoGP. What it's all about now is tyre conservation. Who's going to have the tyres when it comes to the end of the race? Who's going to be able to ride with the tyres when they're worn down, when they're making the bike get out of shape, going a bit squirrely and everything's all wobbling about as they go through some of these long corners, keeping the bike in check, keeping the wheels in line as well. Who's going to be able to do that as they get to the end? Valentino Rossi, we know, can do that. Can Casey Stoner and can Danny Pedrosa do it?
Now, Hopkins got a hard rear from the information I've been given by Bridgestone.
Alrighty-o, so we filled in the sheet. We ride with Valentino Rossi again. I don't think he's close enough. Another go at Danny Pedrosa. That's Pedrosa in front of him in 2nd place. Just a glimpse of red is Casey Stoner. Now here comes Valentino Rossi. This will be very late breaking indeed. Whoa!
Here he goes. Valentino Rossi up into 2nd position. And that he had the top speed at the end of the straight on that lap. So that Yamaha's not sluggish by any means. Don't go telling me that the Yamaha hasn't got some pace underneath it, and you need a great rider to bring it out, and that's what Valentino Rossi's doing at the moment. He goes past Danny Pedrosa and up into 2nd place. Well, that sets the cat amongst the pigeons in terms of the fans. They'll be cheering for Danny Pedrosa, but there'll be lots of Rossi fans in here as well, so I'm sure they'll be intrigued by the battle that's going on at the front here in MotoGP. 4 riders lead us through. We're on 11th lap of 25. And John Hopkins brings up the rear of this front group of 4. And he's ridden a good race, hasn't he, there, Nick? Just sat in. He's got the fastest lap of the race. And you have to say, riding very sensibly. Not doing too much. And he's probably keeping his tyres in quite good shape as well.
It certainly looks comfortable there at the moment. What he may be worried about in the next few laps is that Rossi and Stoner may get away. Danny Pedrosa sort of had that sense of inevitability, didn't he, that Rossi was going to have a go at him. But when he came, he certainly had the top speed down the straight, but he left his braking very late indeed. It was classic Rossi manoeuvre. And now we will see the 2 men that head the World Championship leading the way.
John Hopkins' girlfriend Ashley there, a little wink to the camera from her. She's got her hands clasped together, praying that John Hopkins can have some luck and get back on the podium. It would be great to see him back on the podium here. He's got a tough job in front of him because he's got 3 very strong riders who are in front of him in this race. Stoner on the Ducati, Rossi on the Yamaha, Pedrosa on the Honda, and John Hopkins in 4th place on the Suzuki.
And Stoner knowing exactly what's going on, they put the Rossi sign up to let him know that he's in 2nd and not Pedrosa anymore. So it'll be interesting to see if Stoner can lower those lap times again and at the same time conserve his tyres.
There's Randy De Prunier currently in 8th place. What a fifth place, sorry. What a brave ride by Randy De Prunier with all those injuries. But I think all eyes now focus on the battle at the front.
Look how close Valentino Rossi is to the rear tyre of Casey Stoner. Valentino Rossi's going to have a go. He goes underneath Casey Stoner, but he's going to run it wide through there. He's letting him know he's there. He's tried this before, hasn't he, to Casey Stoner? He tried it in China. He tried to see if that would work. It didn't on that occasion. Will it work here in Catalunya? Can he push Casey Stoner into making a mistake? The very level head on those Australian shoulders of Casey Stoner. I'm not sure you can force him into a mistake. I think you have to really beat Casey Stoner.
Come onto the back straight. Of course, while they're doing this, it's made that Danny Pedrosa has not been left up behind in any way at all. He's right in there. And John Hopkins looking comfortable in 4th place. Classic manoeuvre, wasn't it, by Valentino Rossi? Full mark to Casey Stoner. You run it wide, and I'm going to retake the lead. Thank you very much.
That's a big place to do it too, Nick, because it's a real steep downhill that doesn't come across on television. A lot of weight on the front, then it goes off camber on the exit, so very easy to crash, but very hard to pass.
Classic MotoGP racing in front of a record crowd of 112,000. Ducati don't look impressed, they look more worried, don't they? Stoner leads the way, 13 laps to go. Rossi and Pedrosa right behind him. In fourth place, John Hopkins. Will Rossi have another go here?
No, not this time, I don't think. Not quite close enough coming out to there. He's probably thinking about what his tactics have to be, isn't he, Valentino Rossi? He's probably going to have another few manoeuvres, try and get past him, a few overtaking opportunities, and he'll do everything he can. I think that if Stoner's in front, though, it's very hard for Rossi to get past unless he gets very hard on the brakes. Look how close he's getting once more. They go through turn 3, then through turn 4, and this is the same as he did last lap. Gets very, very close to the rear wheel of Casey Stoner. Runs it a little bit wider, and he'll now try and get through on the inside, runs to carry a bit more speed. He tries to go through once more. No, he doesn't. Casey Stoner, very tight line this time. Good, intelligent riding from Casey Stoner at the front, just closing the door on Valentino Rossi.
Now I've got Michael Bartholomew with me at the moment from Kawasaki. Michael, a pretty impressive ride from Randy. You must be pretty happy with it considering his injuries.
Yes, for sure, I'm very happy. Happy with all the weekend for Randy, not for Hoti so much, but it's unbelievable what he do because he's quite bad injured since Le Mans and then another crash in Mugello, so I'm really impressed with what he's doing.
You think he can hold that station now that he's got the adrenaline going and everything?
I think it is difficult to hold this position, but anyway, even if he can finish the race, already a miracle.
All right, thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you.
We ride with Danny Pedrosa as they come into the stadium section. Just over 13 laps remaining. Casey Stoner still leads the way. Valentino Rossi in second place. Valentino Rossi led for about a millisecond and then was relegated to second place. We now ride with Valentino Rossi. Now, is he close enough this time? Following the Ducati down the main straight. Stoner rides defensively, pulls across, but now Rossi may try and outbreak him now. No, not close enough, and the Ducati very, very evenly matched with the Yamaha on top speed.
Yeah, very evenly matched. Quite different to what we've seen in, obviously, earlier Grand Prix this season, like in China, like in Qatar. I'm not sure whether the Ducatis have turned down the power or whether it is a headwind, but you think the Yamaha had also struggled with a headwind. So interesting to see that the Ducati isn't pulling away from the Yamaha like we saw in China, in Qatar, in those races where the Ducati really did have an advantage on the straight. Valentino Rossi's very close once more to the rear tyre of Casey Stoner. Through he goes once more, but Casey Stoner closes the door yet again. He's not going to let him get past without pushing his way through, is he?
He's not, and Casey Stoner knows that that's where Rossi's tried him 2 or 3 times before. He's got past once, but Stoner then took him back, and now Stoner is absolutely alive to the situation, isn't he?
And good acceleration. That was really noticeable then from the onboard shot of Rossi, how much Stoner could pull away, exiting that hairpin down the hill.
They're onto the back straight, and again, Rossi is not close enough. He'd love to be closer and dive up the inside on the brakes here, but he's just not close enough. And now he has to work very, very hard indeed for the succession of right-handers to get close enough to the Ducati once again, and perhaps have a little sniff at him as they go down the start and finish straight. I love this part of the circuit. These wonderful right-handers, and you plunge downhill. You've got to be brave to ride a MotoGP machine at this pace. Down for these fast right-hander, third gear, onto the start and finish down. I would say that Rossi is not close enough.
Not at the moment, I don't think. Stoner gets a little bit out of shape coming out to the corner. They cross the line once more, 11 laps remaining as they do so. The gap between Stoner and Hopkins, so there's about a second covering all these 3 riders as they go down the home straight. Just opened up slightly, maybe a second and a half now between himself and Hopkins. Hopkins just dropping off slightly, Pedrosa also, but Stoner and Rossi are the 2 that are within 2/10 of each other. Now, will we see Valentino Rossi close up again? Valentino Rossi is one of these riders, well, he is the rider, of course, but he finds an overtaking point, he finds a place where he can really pile on the pressure, and he uses it to his advantage as much as he can. Now Casey Stoner knows that Valentino Rossi is going to try and pass him here, and then it will either be an element of surprise or it'll be, right, well, this time I'm going to make it stick, and something like that, and Valentino Rossi will pull it out of the bag. So Stoner has to have his wits about him, not just at that corner, but at the whole circuit. He'll lull him into a false sense of security almost.
Stoner is riding quite brilliantly at the front, because he is being pressured by arguably the greatest motorcycle racer of all time. He's remaining calm, he's remaining very focused, and he's blocked any move that Rossi has made so far. This is Stoner at his very, very best.
Well, we were talking earlier, weren't we? Valentino Rossi finishes on the podium here today. His 96th podium in the Premier class of MotoGP and in 500s as well. He's 28 years of age, but that will make him have more podiums than anyone else in history. Anyone, Agostini, Halewood, the likes of Mick Doohan as well. And it would make him, for me, one of the greatest. Well, he obviously is one of the greatest of all time, but for many people, the greatest in history.
Third gear, we ride on board with Casey Stoner.
Oh, Tony Elias's race comes to an end. Break them in pictures for a second. When we come back, it's Tony Elias who goes out. Oh, and it's engine problems. So, smoke pouring out of the back of the Honda Gresini machine, and he's forced to retire in his home race. What disappointment for him. Let's hope there is no oil left on the circuit there.
Sixth place Tony Elias was, obviously he's not now. Valentino Rossi still in pursuit of Casey Stoner. They're up round the fast right-handers, turn 2 and 3, and under the bridge.
Another thing though with those turns, Nick, turns 2 and 3, you cannot see the exit of them, or you really got to see it's a blind corner for a long way around. You've actually got to steer it by the rear wheel to trying to get at the turn, because as I've been told, you can run out of room very quickly there.
Here comes Rossi once again. This is his favourite place for having a go at Casey Stoner, but he did it once. Casey Stoner read the script very well indeed, retook the lead immediately, and now Rossi not able to do it. So Rossi will probably surprise him somewhere else now, won't he?
That's the thing. Now he'll have to think of another plan, because it's not working there, is it? For the time being anyway, if Casey Stoner does have a medium tyre on, as we've been suggested by Bridgestone, then maybe Valentino Rossi can see that it's starting to go a little bit, and we'll start thinking, right, well, I might as well sit here, because there might be a mistake somewhere else around the circuit. Randy De Punier is riding a brilliant race in 5th place. 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 here in MotoGP. Real competitive class now. Lots of different manufacturers, all with their factory efforts, battling it out at the top. On board with one of the Gresini Hondas, looks like Marco Melandri, and underneath him goes Chris Vermeulen, and Vermeulen goes up into 7th position. That's what clip we saw from before. Crossing the home straight now, crossing the finish line is Casey Stoner. He's leading from Valentino Rossi and Dani Pedrosa.
You can see Rossi's brains working in the helmet, can't you? He's thinking, right, where I want to overtake him, he's not going to let me. I've got to work something else out. He will work something else out. Here is Randy De Punier crossing the line now. Loris Capirossi 6th, Chris Vermeulen 7th, Marco Melandri in 8th place.
A couple of years ago, we would have thought that Valentino Rossi would have been patient and just waiting his time, but it's certainly a difference this year where he's really got to work for it. And Casey Stoner is a surprise packet, throwing back that pressure. He doesn't even know the meaning of the word pressure.
Valentino Rossi close once more. Look at Dani Pedrosa. Dani Pedrosa's really come back into this race now. He's right on the tail of Valentino Rossi, and that could upset the apple cart somewhat if Pedrosa starts having a go at Valentino Rossi as well. You can see the gap down to just under 0.2 of a second. So really, any of these 3 riders could run away with a victory here from the Catalunya Grand Prix. John Hopkins is a second behind Dani Pedrosa now, so maybe he's just starting to have the first problems with his tyres. John Hopkins on Bridgestone in 4th place. 2nd and 3rd, Rossi and Pedrosa both on Michelins, and the leader, Casey Stoner, is on Bridgestones. So we're going to see, as we go through 8.5 laps, who has the tyres to take them to the end of the race. These 3 at the front. We expected it, didn't we, Nick? We called it from the beginning.
But
have to say now, but really, we can't pick who's going to win, can we?
No, we can't. I think it'd be a brave man to do that, because Stoner is riding. I think Casey Stoner is riding as well as I've ever seen him ride at the front. Rossi's trying everything. He's trying all the pressure. He's trying to overtake him, and he's not able to do so at the moment. But Rossi always has a trick up his sleeve. A man that has won so many world titles, so many Grand Prix will. But Dani Pedrosa now joining in the fun. They come down that start and finish straight. Pedrosa thinking about going up the inside of Rossi, decides not to do so. 8 laps to go. This could go any of 3 ways.
You could hear a big intake of breath around the circuit with Dani Pedrosa just seems to be lining up an outbraking manoeuvre. Someone who knows everything about outbraking manoeuvres is Alex Barros, and he's having a go at Nicky Hayden now. But Nicky Hayden he's done so well to hold off Alex Barros there. And Nicky Hayden holds on. Here comes Valentino Rossi. Valentino Rossi goes through on Stoner, but Stoner goes back past him. And you see, he's trying a different corner now, Valentino Rossi. He's trying the right-hander before this left, and this time the left-hander, and he goes through. And Valentino Rossi hangs on this time, does he? Stoner's there once more. Rossi and Stoner side by side.
Wow, has
Rossi's
it stuck? It has stuck this time. Rossi leads properly for the first time. Stoner couldn't be closer. They're going to go onto that right hander that brings them onto the back straight. Stoner wants to fight back immediately. They come onto the back straight. We ride with Valentino Rossi. This is Casey Stoner. He would try and get up the inside now on the brakes. He's not close enough. Now can Casey Stoner stay with Valentino Rossi? 7.5 laps to go. This is the fiercest battle we've seen this season. And certainly Stoner is right on the rear wheel as they come into the stadium and the right-handers. What a race, what a performance by these three.
I think Valentino Rossi knows that when they come into the final corner of this race, he's got to be in front. He has to be there because he certainly doesn't have the drag, even if he's in the slipstream of that Ducati. Now we can see what can Stoner do from second position. Behind Valentino Rossi coming into the home straight now. Fans are on their feet because they love Valentino Rossi around the world. They love him here as well, but here comes Casey Stoner. Casey Stoner on the Ducati goes straight past the Yamaha of Valentino Rossi, hard on the brakes. Valentino Rossi has to brake very, very deep through there and hangs on to first place. This is turning out to be an epic battle at the front. Stoner tries it in the right-hander through turn 3. A long radius right-hander and Stoner's through. Stoner's through, is he into first position? Yes, he is.
But Rossi may have the advantage here. No, he's not. He's been forced out. Rossi right behind Casey Stoner. We ride with Danny Pedrosa. Pedrosa now getting up the rear of Valentino Rossi. Stoner leads the way. Rossi going to try to get back to the front. Rossi back in front.
But he runs it a little bit wide. I think so. Stoner goes back in front and Pedrosa has a look. This time, Rossi tries to go through a tighter line. Now, Danny Pedrosa has a look. This is incredible stuff with 6.5 laps remaining. We're on the 19th lap of 25 here in Barcelona. This is a battle of battles here in MotoGP. 3 stars of MotoGP, 3 Grand Prix winners, and they're battling it out at the front. You don't get better racing than this anywhere in the world.
They're at the end of the back straight, 6.5 laps to go. Stoner is fought off the challenge of Valentino Rossi. Danny Pedrosa trying to get the inside of Rossi as well. Rossi's got to replan it again, got to think that strategy all again. Listen to the crowd, 112,000 people, millions of television viewers. It just doesn't get better than this. They plunge downhill now into the right-hander. And Rossi just ran it a little bit wide. He was lucky there to hang on to second place from Danny Pedrosa. He's got all the work to do once again. They cross the line. 6 laps to go. What an incredible race here in Barcelona. Here comes Danny Pedrosa. Pedrosa up the inside. Has he taken second place of Valentino Rossi? No. Rossi leaves his braking so late and digs it in deep and almost gets up the inside there at Casey Stoner.
He went very, very deep that time, and I thought Pedrosa might have a chance to get him on the exit of those S's turns 1 and 2. They go through turn 3 now, and you could, well, you could chuck a blanket over the 3 of them, couldn't you? It's a classic racing phrase, but you have to say the 3 of them are within 0.2 of a second. Who knows who's going to win this one? 5.5 laps remaining. Valentino Rossi, we've seen him make the move in this left-hander many times before, but Casey Stoner this time takes a tighter line and doesn't allow Rossi through.
Stoner still leads the way, 5.5 to go. Here comes Rossi up the inside once again.
And I'll just let you guys have a break. I've got Paul Denny with me from Rizla Suzuki about John Hopkins. Really good start, but I think as the tyres starting to come into effect with him at the moment, they're dropping off that slight distance.
Yeah, but hey, you're dropping off Valentino, Danny, and Casey is leading the World Championship. I mean, no complaints. He did more than a good start. He hung with them for so long, and our only hope at the moment is with them messing each other up, it allows them to get back close. But you know, the Ducati has the same tyre as us. Casey's doing a fabulous job. A little bit more engine at the moment. That possibly helps preserve the tyres.
All right, mate, we'll leave you to it. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Mess each other up, they may well do. Rossi closes as they come into the stadium section. He wants to be close to Casey Stoner. He couldn't be closer. They plunge downhill. 100 miles an hour, 110, 120 miles an hour. We're on board with Valentino Rossi. Rossi up the inside, round the right-hander. That's an incredible overtaking manoeuvre from Valentino Rossi. And as they come into the start and finish straight, it's Rossi that leads the way. But will the Ducati have the extra speed with 5 laps to go? I think it will. But Rossi's so good on the brakes here. They start to break any moment now. But Stoner still leads the way. Pedrosa in 3rd place. This is a race of all races.
This is a race of epic proportions, as we've said already, but Casey Stoner is back in front. I think that could have been a dress rehearsal there for Valentino Rossi for a final lap manoeuvre. They cross the line within 44 thousands of each other then, because Stoner drove out of that final corner so hard to see if he could get past the finish line in front, and that's what could happen on the final lap. Valentino Rossi's lining up another manoeuvre up on the inside of Casey Stoner. Not this time. Stoner has he's getting some superb lines. Just close every angle on their suit show.
Valentino Rossi's great friend decided he's not going to watch anymore.
Oh, well, this is really breathtaking stuff at the front of MotoGP. I'm sure there's going to be lots more happening before the end of the race. 4.5 laps remaining. We're on 21 of 25. Number 27 is Casey Stoner in front. Number 46, of course, is Valentino Rossi. And number 26, right in behind them, is the Honda of Dani Pedrosa. Ducati, Yamaha, Honda, 3 factory teams battling it out at the very highest level in MotoGP. They go through the stadium section, and if you're not on the edge of your seat, myself and Nick are both sat here on the edge of the seats. Everyone in the grandstand on the edge of your seats. Who knows what can happen? Pick one from 3. It's a lottery here as they go into the home straight. When they cross the line now, there'll be 4 laps remaining.
And take a breather, Gav. Sorry, Mark.
The crowd going ballistic as they come onto the stadium, all rising as one to their feet as the 3 of them sweep across the line. This is going to be one sensational final 5 laps.
And here comes Rossi up the inside of Stoner. We ride with Rossi. Rossi's taking the lead at turn 1. Will it stick? It has stuck. Rossi now leads the way from Stoner. Stoner right behind him is going to dig back straight away. Pedrosa hasn't made his move yet. He will make a move. But Rossi now leads the way.
There's Pedrosa. Look at Pedrosa having a look at Casey Stoner. Dani Pedrosa having a look. No, it's not going to be this time. But Valentino Rossi's made another move in another different part of the circuit. He's trying it absolutely everywhere to get the run on this Ducati. This time he does it hard, braking at the end of the straight. They go through the left-hand way. We've seen so much action. Downhill they go, and Valentino Rossi's going to try and break them. He's going to try and put the hammer down and move away at the front. Can he do so? Can the youngsters, Dani Pedrosa and Casey Stoner, can they keep the 5-time MotoGP world champion in check?
They certainly can. I'm sure Casey Stoner can. If he can get back past him, I don't know, but he can keep him in check. Of that there is no doubt. On the back straight, Stoner thinks about it and decides no, there's still 3.5 laps to go. Round this tight left, uphill, and then into the stadium section. And Rossi, I'm sure you're absolutely right, Gavin, was just checking it out 2 or 3 laps before when he overtook Casey Stoner coming into that section. But now, of course, he leads the way. Does he want to be leading the way the whole time? I'm not so sure. Just over 3 laps remaining. They plunge downhill into the start and finish straight. Over the line. 3 laps to go. The race of the season, perhaps even the race of the decade.
Across they go once more. Watch that red bullet fire past Valentino Rossi. Now they go hard on the brakes. Rossi on the right of your picture, Stoner on the left. They go into turn 1 now. Rossi cuts across the front of Casey Stoner's Ducati, and once more Valentino Rossi hangs on to first position through the S's. Round turn 3 they go. This long right-hander that just goes on and on. They're sliding both front and rear tyres through there. And then they go into turn 4. Another right-hander. The right-hand side of those tyres will be battered. We'll see them moving around in there now. They go into the left-hander and head down back towards the paddock.
Rossi leads the way, 2.5 laps to go. Stoner and Pedrosa surely going to have another go. Stoner got back in front, but Rossi pulls right across in front of him on the brakes and gets into turn 1. Leading the way. Utter respect between these riders. They are riding, they're not riding at the limit, they're riding well beyond the limit of tyres, of machinery and human endurance. They are putting on a show throughout the world that makes any other form of motorsport look boring.
Now that move at the end of that straight, you don't know how committed Rossi was to there to go in so late under brakes, try and turn it on the off-camber part of the track and then bring it back. It runs it right out wide, and how he did that, it's just showing the masterful nature of that guy.
Look how close Casey Stoner is. He's lining something up. He really tucked in behind the wheel of Valentino Rossi there, and now as they go down the hill, when they cross the line, the one more corner, and then they cross the line, there'll be 2 laps remaining in this race. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Valentino Rossi who crosses the line first? Is it going to be Casey Stoner who's in second? Or is it going to be the home hero, Dani Pedrosa? Casey Stoner wants to lead into turn 1. He goes past Valentino Rossi, this time on the brakes. It holds for the Australian. The Australian is back in front and leading in MotoGP. His father Colin in the box alongside the team, claps him along. Randy de Punier currently sits in 5th position behind John Hopkins. We've got 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 spots.
1 3/4 laps to go. The young pretender to Valentino Rossi and Nicky Hayden's crown leads the way. The 21-year-old Australian riding the race of his life against the 7 times world champion Valentino Rossi, and Danny Pedrosa himself, a 3 times world champion, hanging in there in 3rd place. What a race. Rossi now is brain in overdrive. We'll have another go. Where is it going to be? Can Stoner stop him? 1.5 laps to go. Casey Stoner riding the race of his life. Valentino Rossi in 2nd place. Danny Pedrosa 3rd as they come onto the back straight. Now, will Rossi come out of the slipstream now and have a go? No. But they close right up. Here comes Rossi.
Rossi's leg right off the bike then. Really pushing so hard on the braking area into the left-hander and then into the stadium section. That left leg was trailing. It was touching the ground when he came through there as well. His foot was on the ground. Casey Stoner still leads now. What will Stoner do into these final 2 corners? Because we've seen Valentino Rossi's willing to make a move. He's willing to make a pass going into the final corner. There's Casey Stoner. He's riding the wheels off the Ducati. You just see he's fighting against that Italian bike. They go down the start-finish straight for the penultimate time. 1 more lap remaining here in Barcelona.
Down the start and finish straight they come. Rossi not close enough. Here comes Danny Pedrosa trying to get the inside of Rossi, not able to do so. Rossi hasn't made his move at turn 1. He wasn't close enough. He's going to have to make his move in the next 2.9 miles. Stoner still leads the way. Rossi 2nd. Pedrosa in 3rd place. Here comes Rossi once again.
He's lining it up once more. Casey Stoner runs it a little bit wide this time, and that's to close the door on Valentino Rossi. Rossi was thinking, right, I can try and get a good line and line up this left-hander. Danny Pedrosa's trying that line as well. Just runs it a little bit wider, and they're going to have a go on this left-hander. It's Valentino Rossi. He's going to have a go. Is he? No, not this time, Stoner. But another superb blocking manoeuvre from Casey Stoner, riding so well here in Catalunya. Half a lap remaining. Casey Stoner still leads the way. They go through this left-hander. Now they've got a right kink and fast right onto the back straight.
Onto the back straight they come. It's the Ducati that leads the way from the Yamaha. The Honda in 3rd place. Now can Rossi get close enough to have a go up the inside as they break for the left-hander that then brings him into that succession of right. He's not close enough. Stoner is holding firm at the front. Time is running out for Valentino Rossi.
It's got to be that last corner. That's got to be where he makes a manoeuvre, if he makes a manoeuvre. But I can assure you that Casey Stoner will be braking with gritted teeth. He'll be pushing it to the absolute limit as they go through the stadium section for the final time. Down the hill they dip once more. Into the final corner. Can Valentino Rossi make a manoeuvre? I don't think he can. It looks like it's going to be Casey Stoner.
Casey Stoner wins the Grand Prix of Catalunya. What a race! Valentino Rossi in 2nd place. In 3rd place, Danny Pedrosa. The race of the season, John Hopkins in 4th place. Casey Stoner, well, he's come of age. He's come beyond age. A magnificent win for the Australian. What a ride by Randy de Punier into 5th place. But today belongs to Casey Stoner and Ducati. Alex Barros just coming through in 8th place, and Marco Melandri in 9th.
Well, I've seen some celebrations for Ducati over the years, Nick, but this one takes the cake. I think it sums up how much I know that, because Casey Stoner has really repulsed the threat of Valentino Rossi and done it so well that is just so hard. Words can't describe it.
Absolutely magnificent motorcycle race, and the ride of a lifetime by Casey Stoner. He wins the race by 0.069 of 1 second. His 4th Grand Prix victory of the season. Well, I can tell you, there's none better than that.
Now, Nick, I've got Colin Stoner with me, Casey's dad. We saw him do it at Qatar, but is that the best race you've ever seen him ride?
Oh, I think so. I think that was one-on-one with Valentino, and there wasn't horsepower, there wasn't anything. He just rode him. Awesome.
But just mature. You knew where Rossi passed, and the next lap just blocked the door on him and everything. And I don't think Casey knows the meaning of the word pressure, does he?
No, he doesn't seem to. He just rode that unbelievable. I'm sure he'll tell you there was a bit of pressure there. That was real pressure, that one, but he came out good.
All right, go and enjoy, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Congratulations.
Valentino Rossi celebrating in style his second place, and I'm sure he'll be the first man to congratulate Casey Stoner. Oh, what a championship we've got in prospect. So he's increased his lead in the championship, Casey Stoner, what, to 14 points now. But that was the ride of his career.
I've got Livio Supo with me at the moment. Livio, I don't think I've seen Ducati celebrate so much. Is that the best win you've been associated with, or what? Or does it have to be close?
But I think it was probably one of most beautiful races of MotoGP. And you know, for us here is strange, because 2 years ago we were struggling a lot with tires, and Bridgestone has done a miracle, I guess. In 2 years, they were able to recover everything. Plus, you know, it's just last year here we had a very difficult weekend, and I'm so proud that we are back so good.
And Casey's really proven now that he can handle the pressure of anything that's thrown at him.
Yeah, he's a good fighter, man, and he's unbelievable. We are so proud to have him on board. I'm also very happy that Loris has done a good race, considering what happened yesterday. So it's very good.
All right, go and enjoy it.
And a warm shake of the hands there between Valentino Rossi and Casey Stoner. I don't think we'd expect anything else after a race like that. It was fair, it was hard, it was, well, as tough as anything you'd ever want to see. Both riders on the limit, tyres on the limit, everything on the limit. Number 8 Brivio there just to the left, the man that Mark just spoke to, the team manager of the Fiat Yamaha team. Valentino Rossi in second place, and as you can say, yeah, I think it was hard work, Valentino, but what a performance and what a ride by those first three. Plenty of other good rides as well, as I say. John Hopkins, well, we haven't done him credit really, have a fabulous performance by John Hopkins into 4th place. In 5th place, Randy de Prunier. Loris Capirossi from 17th on the grid, 6th. Chris Vermeulen, 7th. Alex Boras, 8th. 9, Marco Melandri, 10. Colin Edwards. Nicky Hayden, disappointing 11th. Makoto Tamada, 12th. Alex Hoffman, 13th. Sylvain Gintoli, 14th. Shinya Nakano, 15th. Kenny Roberts Jr. in 16th place. Carlos Checa, 17th. And Curtis Roberts, at the back of the field in 18th place. One man out of the race, not a crash. Tony Elias, problems with the engine of the Honda. Certainly is. British Grand Prix, the next one on the World Championship calendar. 2 weeks today, the nickel and dime British Grand Prix at Donington Park. It's round 8. So Danny Pedrosa in 2nd place. Valentino Rossi 3rd, but what a ride. Surely the ride of his short Grand Prix career by the 21-year-old Australian, Casey Stoner. I think he deserves a drink. So the first award obviously to Danny Pedrosa in 3rd place. 2nd successive podium finish for the Repsol Honda rider. I don't think he'll be too disappointed by that, and he hung in there with those front men throughout. Listen to the crowd. 2nd place, well, he didn't win here for the 9th time. He gave it absolute best possible go. Valentino Rossi in 2nd place. But there was somebody he could not beat this afternoon, and that just shows how well Casey Stoner rode. 21 years old, he's from Australia. He leads the World Championship by 14 points, and he has just beaten probably the greatest motorcycle racer the world has ever seen. Salute Casey Stoner and Ducati.
I don't want to sound prejudiced, Nick, but to see the hair apparent, he's certainly putting a stamp on it.
It certainly is. What a day for Ducati. They won their first ever MotoGP race here 4 years ago. A lot's happened to them since then, but I think probably this is the greatest day since they returned to Grand Prix motorcycle racing. But for the 4th time this season, we will listen to the national anthem of Australia, and congratulations to Casey Stoner.